Another dad falls to the Steam Deck allure. League of Legends, not a dad game, but a good TV show? Sure. Why make a remaster when the old doesn't suck? And good choices get promoted with a promise of V-Buck. Welcome to New Dad Gaming.
Adult beverages are poured. The kids are asleep. Welcome to New Dad Gaming. It's a show about fatherhood, gaming, and new fathers figuring out their gaming lives.
My name is Trevor, and I have a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 14-year-old and an 11-year-old.
Each week, we try to show that just because you became a dad
does not mean it's game over.
And my favorite thing to talk about here, we adore talking to the fans. Like anybody who's been with us here on this podcast for a while, reach out to us, tell us your stories at New Dad Gaming, newdadgaming.com. And a great one for this week, and one that's going to be really near and dear to your heart, Jeff, is a listener, a fan of the show, is joining the Steam Deck Brigade.
Yay!
Yes. So this listener wrote in, again, good friend of the show, Benjamin Ryan. They wrote in stating that they were starting to consider a gaming PC. You know,
okay.
they generally find that they enjoy consoles more, but between different dynamic in the household, cool games on PC, like some awesome online multiplayer stuff. It just started to appeal to them. What if I could get a gaming PC?
Yeah, okay.
And, they're asking, you've mentioned on the show having a couple, like what's kind of your take? And when everything was laid out, like it started to dawn on me that's like, what might actually work better for you is a Steam Deck.
Okay.
Because again, like youngish kids, I need to kind of move around the household, like kind of like night gaming, things like that. So and just the complication of setting up a PC. It's not the end of the world. Like dads, you can handle it, but generally it's a more difficult thing. And for somebody from console, for me, the Steam Deck seemed to perfectly just kind of fit in that band. And it's like less than $500 right now.
Yeah, and if you do it now, tax free, before tomorrow.
So you got to do it now. You see the impetus. That's just like fiscal responsibility right there.
That's right. No, that's I'm glad you become the spokesperson for Steam Deck. And this Benjamin Ryan seems like good people. So yeah, the Steam Deck just seems to fit the bill. All these episodes have great experiences with the Steam Deck and what it can do and what you can kind of tweak and mod into it. It's a fun little console / PC that I've had a great time with. And I'm running like some really intense games, and I heard even just Avowed got tested for it. And Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 runs spectacular on it. So it can run the newish games.
Really?
It's just like you have to, manage your expectations a bit. It's not going to be on ultra high, but obviously on medium settings, it runs pretty fluid from what I've seen, which to me is just a testament to the developers saying, hey, this is a viable platform and we want people to play it on the go. So
now
jump on in.
So I'm curious, like with that, from my conversation with Benjamin and Ryan, they didn't seem all that concerned with top tier, the absolute like biggest like graphics, right? But my general assumption would be, and I need your take on this, is if it's in that smaller form factor, like inches from your face, just kind of like sitting on your lap as you're playing it, it feels as though medium settings would be more than adequate. Because if you're not blasting it to like a 70-inch like OLED television set,
right,
it would almost seem like ultra settings is kind of wasted on the smaller dynamics. And you have a PS5, so you have high capability, powerful rendering.
Yeah.
Like, what is that dichotomy like as far as like being able to see the absolute latest gen powerful gaming rendering as opposed to medium settings on a Steam Deck? Like, what, as a gaming dad, like what's that looking like?
Yeah, I will agree with you there that, those medium settings on that screen absolutely does the trick. I hardly ever dock the Steam Deck and play full screen, only when I want to play some multiplayer games with the kids, but they're usually pretty cartoony in nature and not too much of a stressor. But I beat a few games on PS5 streaming to my Steam Deck. So like the fidelity and graphical quality, like it is just so much more condensed on the screen. Obviously you're going to love it. Like it's nothing to, like it's not going to like interrupt your gameplay at all. But yeah, I usually play everything undocked, mobile, even the Switch, to be honest. I don't really dock that too much. But yeah, all those settings completely doable on that little screen, especially if you get the OLED version, which is something that I'm dying to get. And I missed out on as an early adopter, but for this person...
I wish you hadn't said that I recommended the LCD.
Oh, did you? No, just like honestly...
It was a pricing thing because like for me, that when I was looking at the pricing page, like there's something about...
Yeah.
And again, like kind of real talk. Let me give you this like analogy. I've gone to IMAX movies, and for the first like 10 to 15 minutes, it is an unbelievable, massive, immersive experience.
Right.
After that, it borderline could just be an iPhone in front of your face. Right? Because at some point, once you actually get invested in the thing that you're looking at, I find that those type of details go away. And unless you have constantly an OLED screen beside the LCD to make the constant comparison, upon our minute 20 of gameplay, I don't feel you're really going to notice it.
No, if again, the LCD is also half the price, so it's very much worth it. And like you said, if you just have that in front of you and there's no comparison, it's going to do the trick. You're going to be blown away either way. And if you're not so much into, those top tier games anyway, I'm not saying that it's wasted, but I'm like, you're going to play those games anyway on something that does the trick, right? So absolutely, I'm welcoming this person into the Steam Decker Brigade. Like, that's amazing. I love it.
So exciting. Now, you did mention playing multiplayer games with your kids. So what is the current setup with the Steam Deck and the kids? Have they been allowed to hold the sacred brick to play it themselves, or is it very much no, this is a dad thing, and you will stand a good 5 feet away from it at all times? Like, what is the scenario in the house?
So my one rule.
I don't have many rules, Trevor.
You're right.
I don't take a lot from myself.
No,
it's just one thing.
See, you're on the right path. I don't have a lot that's just mine. So I said the Steam Deck was dad's, but they got to play the games that I would allow them. Like, hey, you want to try this out? It comes with a game pre-installed, so that's kind of cool. I let them play with it. That's and that was probably the extent of it. So like they don't play any games on there, and they have their laptops anyway. They wouldn't want to. So it really, like, they're not begging to take it around, but it has been solely dad's. And then multiplayer, you just hook up a PS4 or PS5 controller and you're playing on the screen. Like, they don't have to touch it, right? It just kind of runs. So they haven't really played too much with it, and that is kind of been me, and also them having the option of their own PCs. So
yeah, I see it as the better freeing up of all others, where it's like, okay, so now you have greater agency over the rest of the consoles in the house. This is dad's. This is dad's domain. We leave this be.
Yeah, like, again, primary, they will go on their computers. We'll play a multiplayer game together. So, like, cool. Age of Empires or something, I'll be on the deck, they'll be on their PCs, and we'll have a great time. So, and I can move around and be in their, like, rooms and be like, hey, stop invading me. So, like,
walk up behind them and just slap their heads or, like, unplug their internet. Just like, classic. Hey, so welcome to the Steam Deck family, Benjamin, Ryan. Super excited to write in and, like, really happy we could chat. Otherwise, anyone else listening, again, like, any Gaming Dad questions, any Gaming Dad stories, chatting with all you folks listening has been by far the best part of this podcast. So reach out to us at New Dad Gaming or newdadgaming.com. Now, one last quick story about Steam Deck. Apparently, you had what you thought was an emergency with it being broken, but just turned out you had some bandwidth situations.
Yeah, so I have been limping along with this thing for probably a better part of a year, thinking that So the version I got was only 64 gigs, so I expanded it with my SD cards. And I thought that maybe I just got a crappy one. It was bottoming out. It was becoming slow. I was downloading these games, and the games nowadays are, again, 50 gigs plus, no problem. So it would just take forever, and it would be at it for like 10 hours, slowly downloading and uploading. I'm like, it's got to be the card. And then I switched to the cards. I'm like, oh my God, it's the deck itself. Like, I guess I'll just run this into the ground and see what happens. And then just life happened, and I had to upgrade my internet just because the contract's running out. So I had to do the whole song and dance and call in and be like, no, give me a better deal, whatever. And then they're like, okay, well, your bandwidth is like ancient. You're on like grandfather bandwidth. So like,
excuse me? Like, I don't have very fast. They're like, oh goodness, no, sir.
Right.
I'm surprised you can even watch a movie. My God.
Yeah. And they're like, they ask you questions like, oh, how many devices? And I look at my Google Home. I'm like, I've got 32 devices at any one time running on this thing. So
it's like, I got my fridge, I got my dishwasher, I got my
everything.
car, like,
right?
Oh
so they hooked me up with way higher bandwidth, probably 10 times more than what I was doing, especially with the upload bandwidth. And then I went to download a game, just like out of the blue, didn't even think. And the whole thing blazing fast. Like, I was gaming in like 10 minutes, not waiting hours. I'm like, that's what it was. I could have fixed this so long ago.
Is this what the future feels like?
Yeah. And I am one to Google every issue, and I just never came across that bandwidth issue as something that was just pertained to me. I'm like, no, I got plenty of stuff. How would that, like, I would see when the kids go to bed, like, it would, bump up or something. Less devices, I thought more bandwidth. No, I was just maxed out, and the thing was just throttling itself into oblivion, so.
I am surprised that the kids did not complain.
I am surprised too, yeah.
It's like, how, like, they must have known that something like ain't right. Like at some point they're trying to download and they're like screaming at you like, why is this taking 2 days? I can't believe you got away with this.
Well, the funny part is that most of the times it's Roblox, right? So they're not really downloading much, but they are like, there is that upload download happening all the time, and maybe just their pings were high and they're like, Dad, they would complain to me like, oh, sometimes I glitch out or something, or somebody says something and I get it a second later. I'm like, welcome to the internet, like back in my day.
You shift the page of your newspaper, like, good, maybe you shouldn't be playing so much.
Yeah. So I just chalked it up to that, like, oh yeah, it's just your computer, the server, whatever. No, it was me and the bandwidth of the internet, and I should have been a little bit smarter on that one. But we won't tell them that until they listen to this show much later on.
But they're not going to listen to the show, so you're fine.
They got like 8 years worth of episodes.
Yeah. As adults, they'll look back fondly, perhaps.
Yes.
And see all the times we complained about our kids. Glad to hear you got it sorted out. I might need some more bandwidth in the house because the demand from Fortnite is probably going to go up. Because Jeff, despite all intentions, V-Bucks have entered the house.
Whoa, okay, what changed in a week?
Bribery, Jeff.
Okay.
Bribery. Okay. Good old-fashioned bribery.
All right.
All right, so V-Bucks have been, I went eyes wide open. I suppose I had some hope that we'd be able to better fend off the allure.
The onslaught of V-Bucks? Yeah, okay. Yeah.
But I knew it was coming. It wasn't like, there's no way they'll ever want them. However, like, ultimately it was still just like, we will deal with it, and this will be a nice way to like basically say no, you can't have it. Now,
okay.
What's happening is my oldest, despite his best intentions, like, or just that might be, I'll roll with that. Despite his best intentions, it said like he does not want to go to an upcoming Scouts camp. He's in Scouts, and he just doesn't want to go. We think it's hard to describe. We know he's gonna have a good time. He's done this before, and could not stop like screaming about what an amazing time he had. Right.
Okay.
And there was just some sort of resistance, so we couldn't quite get around it. And eventually, my wife, in exasperation, has said, "Fine, like if you go, I will buy you V-Bucks."
Okay.
And Jeff, like his eye, like a cartoon from the 70s, his eyes fly out of his head, his jaw's like on the floor with his like tongue waggling out, and of course it's like, oh yeah, okay, I'll go. That's great. So he's super excited about going now.
Yeah.
And and again, like there's things that I've said where it's like, all right, if you get like in school they're on all 4 system. It's from 1 through 4.
Right.
Like 1 is like fail, 4 is like perfect or whatever,
Yeah.
near perfect. And I've said it's like, all right, get all 4s in school. I'll let you play Fortnite during the week. Because if you're doing that well at school, like you have a handle on it.
Yeah.
So like fine, like that'll be like a reward for it, right? So we're good old fashioned bribery has broken us to allow V-Bucks to enter the home and the conversation. It's just I don't know if like you were shaking your head when I first mentioned we're gonna try not to, and you're like, oh dear sweet Trevor. There's no way.
Oh, I for sure thought like, oh yeah, you think you're so strong now? Just wait, buddy. Like there's something there that you'll be like, you know what? It's like Santa Claus. Like you had to be good for Santa Claus. Well, Santa Claus brings V-Bucks, so how about that?
So that's anyway. So I don't know. Like, what's your? I'm trying to think. Like, have you purchased V-Bucks or has it all been like Robux because yours are a bit more into that side?
It has always been Robux, and I was the same as you, and trying to resist it. But then I didn't use it as a like a carrot for anything, but it was more like, okay, you don't necessarily, because they don't get allowance, right? So that's something that we tried out. It didn't really work, so we stopped that and we did other things. But to teach them like the value of money, like, hey, you have this amount and it is finite. This is what you get from a birthday, Christmas, whatever, and you have to be responsible with it. Like if we find out you're doing stupid things and trying to like bribe your friends to give you more Robux or something, that's going to be a problem. Anyway, we thought we were strong. It did not happen, especially when they get into like recess and kids and like, again, birthday parties. Robux is always first priority. It used to be Lego at one point, but now it's Robux. And it's just the currency the kids talk in. So welcome, Trevor. You are just part of... Listen. Look at the show's going great so far. We got Steam Deck online. We got V-Bucks coming in. I mean, what's next?
I'm trying to think what else. It would basically be like, oh, we both bought games and we broke our like years of practice. Thankfully, we haven't. Yeah, Gaming Dad staying strong here, so we do appreciate that. Yeah, I don't. Like I said, it's almost I do. We both dislike the idea that like the only reason they'll ever do something good is for a reward. So we're trying to find the right way to do it. But there's just, especially when there's just like it's like, this is good for you. You are going to enjoy this, but there's just some batch of resistance that we cannot get through. So we're going to use this as the lever to like make it happen. Yeah, like, and I'm not totally against that. Like, I'm not some like high and mighty like. I go to work, right? I would not go to work if I didn't get the money at the end. Right? Like, the only thing that's keeping me there is that paycheck. So I'm sorry. Like, that's the reward at the end. Some people, like and enjoy going to work, but like, I do not. And that carrot is the money. So it's just what it is. That's just the world we live in. Everything is transactional. So why not have a little bit of fun with it? Like, just go for it. Yeah. I hope they buy some cool costumes and then they play a match with you and you're in your generic stuff and you're like, well, I guess I gotta buy some V-Bucks. It was worse. We played with they were playing with their cousins, which is also super cool. What I really like is that we've befriended the cousins on it, so they'll just on the weekend like just play together. So they'll be doing like nice. 3s or 4s. It's fun. That's awesome. But their cousins have some amazing skins. Ooh. Like, they've been going at it for a while, but their collection is gorgeous. So they got some of these. So at one point, they're talking and they're cycling through all of them. And I'm watching them do it. I'm like, oh, no! My kids will now know what's possible. Oh, my. This isn't making it easier. Fashion show. Yeah. Fashion show. Oh, it was so cool. But that's amazing. Yeah, gotta go figure. So I'm curious where it goes now, because they have the next birthday. Ooh. And if they want the like V-Bucks badly, like, do we push back against it? Because I will say they're also in this weird spot where you can't really, especially my oldest, like he's 9 turning 10, like he can only have so many more Legos. Oh yeah, you know what I mean? It's also like the amount of stuff we have in the house. Like, I need less things.
Yes.
So there's there is almost this benefit to something that is purely digital that does not take up space in my home.
I am with you 100%. We said no to Legos. It wasn't the kids. We were like, no, that's kind of done. We have enough around here. Like,
It's
anything
enough.
digital, please.
Oh, anything and everything. But hey, gaming dads, anyone else out there holding strong on the V-Bucks thing?
We
or
want to
Robux?
meet you.
Yes, we want to know your story. Or have you used it similarly for, a carrot in these type of situations? Right in at New Dad Gaming, newdadgaming.com. Now, something you had gotten into recently was the Arcane show, which does look awesome. Like, I absolutely adore the artwork. Haven't had a chance yet, but was curious this kind of new approach to video game TV adaptation, and also for something that I don't think you've ever actually played.
No, I have never played League of Legends. Ever. I know it's popular. I have not played it. I don't know. I never really got into it. But Arcane, the TV show, obviously based off League of Legends in some form. I don't know the entire story behind it. But I was talking to another gaming dad, and he's like, not Trevor, some other gaming dad that was like, hey, I've been watching Arcane with my daughter. Have you seen it yet? It's like freaking amazing. And I'm like, I haven't. I always see it on like the Netflix homepage, and I just scroll past. I'm like, it looks good, but like, I don't know. Anyway, I'm like, okay, let's give it a shot. So I get my 14-year-old, and we burn through both seasons, and it is a fantastic show. And you don't need to know anything about League of Legends. It introduces you into this like slice of the world. These characters are so well done. The story arcs through all of them are different and varied. The animation to this show, and I think you kind of touched on it, is just spectacular. It's like concept art coming to life. And I think every episode costs them like a few million to make. So it's an expensive one, but it is totally just like artistic beauty. Like, I will like rewatch this thing, I think, because I'm picking up on all the little details. Like, it's not so surface level. There's a lot hidden along the way, which is kind of cool that my 14-year-old and I kind of like dive into the lore of it. But what's funny is that even at the end of the show, and we were both like, wow, that was amazing. And there was like highs and lows and sad parts and whatever. I looked at my 14-year-old and I'm like, do you want to download League of Legends? And and immediately like, nah. And I'm like, okay, nah. Which I think goes to their research, is like, this was a very successful show, and it was talked about, won a ton of awards, but it did not convert people into gaming with League of Legends. It just didn't transfer. And I don't think it's any fault of the show. It's just like, yeah, I love it for what it is, but I don't want to go over there necessarily. So
it's like, yeah, you'd have to think it's largely because of the type of game. It's a very specific. It's massively popular. I know people like it. Like I tongue-in-cheek have on the video recording of this have League of Legends bad game, good TV.
Okay.
It is to be. I'm being cheeky about it.
Yeah.
Because people adore it. Like if you've ever seen the outdoor arena when they or the indoor arena when they have the World Championships.
Yes.
Like, it is mental. Like, it is so cool.
Yeah.
Right. But as far as a approachable game that you can play to blow off some steam, this ain't it. Like, it is. No. You have to study. You have to practice. Like, it is very deep. So it's not too surprising that it wouldn't have. If let's say, and I've heard talk before that they'd wanted to create a first-person shooter based in this world, or very like various other type of titles, even like a Prince of Persia style thing, right? For me, that seems like a better in. Even
I could
like,
totally
I'll say
see
this,
that. Yeah.
As a Magic the Gathering guy back in the day, like I messed with Legends of Runeterra, which is a card game based. It's a card battler based in this world. Gorgeous, amazing animations, kind of a fun gameplay loop. Didn't kind of get its hooks into me necessarily, but you can see, like, I would more imagine this is going to be better if they start to come out now with those other game projects, because the main one, that's a hard sell. That's a hard sell.
Right? Like, again, it's just not my type of game. I don't think I have the time or the patience to necessarily learn to get into it. My 14-year-old maybe along the way. But again, it was just one of those things where it's like, we are so taken aback by this world. And they do mention Runeterra, and I assume that was the world that's kind of based in. Learned a lot about the characters and, like, in fact, they're in the game and whatever. It's just, it didn't turn the key. We're like, it was great. We could totally rewatch this. Not necessarily downloading that game right now.
So if one of our kids ends up taking it, I'd be very curious. You and I would struggle.
I think so, yeah.
I don't want to speak on your behalf, but
I would
feel fairly confident. I think we would struggle mightily
in
understanding how the heck to play this damn game. I'd be curious to see our kids take it up and see how fast. It'd be almost. I feel like it'd be upsetting to see how fast they get it and they get good at it.
Okay, I kind of want to do that as like a gaming challenge to my 14-year-old, just to see, because he's like
good.
He's so good with like statistics and math, and again, he's playing Balatro and figuring it all out and just running the thing. I think this is more about, min and maxing like certain strategies and stuff. I totally think he could take off with it. I just want to see.
Listen. Okay, listen. You have a one in a lifetime opportunity. It's like, okay, next you choose a weekend or sometime when you have a bit of time, and this is going to be good for the show.
Okay, I'm in.
It's like all right. Here's the bet. Like, we're gonna put $5 in, $5 in.
Yes. Yeah.
We're gonna put $5 of the V-Bucks on the table.
Yeah.
We will both spend, and we got to be honest about this. We're gonna spend 4 hours learning and practice, or you pick a time, 8 hours, like one day, whatever you want to do. But you have to say hours, because otherwise they'll smoke you, because they'll have time to stay awake and do okay.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's like, okay, we're gonna take like 4 to 6 hours to learn and practice this game, and then we're gonna battle, and we're gonna see who's better.
Yeah.
Because that's your only. Because it's the only chance. This might be the only chance you ever have to be better at them at this game. Like, that's the important thing, right?
Right. Yeah. You got to break him a little bit. So, I'm in on that. That'd be great.
Just like, it still feels against you. It almost feels like you should double your time.
Like, I probably should. At least like.
It's less fun. It's less fun. Okay, I'll put it this way. So, do 6 and 6.
Okay.
And then battle. And if they beat you badly.
Right.
You get to do another 6.
Okay.
And then you battle again, but they can't. They're not allowed.
No.
So you get an additional 6 if you lose the first time, and you see if you can overcome it, plus the learnings that you had from the first matches.
That sounds like a great idea. Yeah, I don't know do you play League of Legends? It's not through Steam, right? Because I was about to say, I'm like, oh yeah, this is where family controls comes in, and I just turn it off. I don't think it does. I think it has its own launcher and stuff. But this is a great idea. I'm glad we came to this.
Yeah, I think it might be. Hold on. I'm Googling something here quickly.
I think I should get more hours because
it's right.
Because I'm on the Steam Deck. I'm on the Steam Deck. That is like, okay, like, you know what I mean?
Get a mouse and keyboard. You can't. You gotta get a mouse keyboard. You can't do.
You're supposed to be on my side. You're supposed to be like, yeah, totally. You should double your time. That's not a problem.
Yeah. So this is Riot. So yeah, it's funny. It's an entirely separate company. So League of Legends, Valorant, that's huge. Teamfight Tactics, not as familiar. I've heard of it, not familiar with it. Legend of Runeterra, I've played it. It's great, but just again didn't have the hooks in. Very generous as far as if somebody likes Magic, but they want slightly simpler and to be given more for free. Legends of Runeterra is very generous. Okay. Like constant stuff coming your way. LOL, Wild Rift. Never heard of that. Anyway, but that doesn't mean much. Okay. I know or don't know, that's not a good barometer. So,
yeah.
See,
I'm down.
Challenge accepted. That would be hilarious. I'd love to see. You got to get like recordings. You got to get clips. You got to get reactions. That'd be so Riot.
I'm gonna get totally wrecked, but like again for the show, I'm in.
It's all for the show.
Yeah.
Last one. Hey, gaming dads, you ever gone head to head new game with your kids? Specifically, are you a League of Legends player? Is your kid a League of Legends player? And do they embarrass you? Write in New Dad Gaming at New Dad Gaming. Last one, real quick to wrap up for the day. Days Gone apparently received a remaster. And at first I wasn't. You wrote to me saying why, and I was worried that was because it was a critique on the game, which, as best I understand it, is actually critically misaligned. Like, it should really be. Apparently it's an amazing game that did not strike fire like it should have, despite how good it was.
Yeah.
But you're in that same vein. But it's more. But explain your why for the remake or the remaster of Days Gone.
Yeah. Again, this was a great game. I think it just fell under the radar a lot when it launched. The why was, it looks so good as is. Like, it already runs beautifully. I think even on, like, it has launched on PC, so it runs, awesome. Like, I'm not sure what else you can put into it. So they're remastering it, which is like saying, hey, take this great game and we'll just, like, bump up the resolution slightly. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's not much more you can do to it with the state that it is.
I don't know, like, I don't think it's probably coming off on the live stream as we're watching it, but, like, on my monitor, like, this looks stunning.
Yeah.
Like, this is amazing. Like, what are you going to do?
Right? And it's got, like, hordes of zombies, and, like, that was the selling point, is that they could have 200-300 zombies on screen at once and it wouldn't chug, right? This thing would just fly. And it absolutely does. So I'm not sure why the remaster, right? It's not totally remaking it, but it's just a game that didn't need it. So my why was like, no, it's good as is. It's a fun game. And now that we, had mentioned it, it does have a motorcycle. It does have long winding roads through national parks. Like,
oh, man.
This is a Trevor game. This
upsets me so much. I got it. That's what, before we're talking here, I'm like, I should probably check all my accounts just in case I accidentally own it somewhere.
You probably
do. I would sorry, hold on. Part of this whole year thing was, no, that falls within the purview. The idea was, like, to finish games that, in my view, is a bit more like finish games that we've started, or at least, like, plan to start. And for me, my problem with this is, like, I have, until this moment, have not had any desire to play this game.
Okay.
Not because it's bad, but just because it's never really crossed my radar. So my problem would be with the challenge as we're doing it, is that's a brand new game into the queue, as opposed to finishing No Man's Sky for the first time, or playing Fallout 4, or or Fallout 3 New Vegas, like something I have thought about playing before. You know what I mean? So I don't think I can get this in this year. A, probably I don't own it. B, I got other stuff to do, man.
Yeah, like, I would say, like, if you already own it, you're like, no, you can load it up and just toot around in it. That's fine. I'm rotating through 3 or 4 games, just like, it's like ice cream. It's just like, the flavor I want tonight is not chocolate, so it's whatever. So if you don't own it, it's a little bit of a stretch, but this is totally a you game. Like, just in that, again, motorcycles, you fix up, you tune the bike, you add stuff to it, you do have fuel, and it breaks down and blah, 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 right? You have to do that while zombies are about to chase you, so, like, there is some tension to it. But it's fun. It's a fun game, and it runs pretty smoothly on anything you throw at it. So, I don't know, one day. It's
almost like we need to keep a separate list. It's like, all right, here's what I'm going to try to
what if we
complete
did that
this year. And then another, like, well, here's everything for 2026. Let's go. The want to plays.
Well, if we put this forward, again, I don't want to extend the show too much, but we're already putting, like, League of Legends wasn't on my backlog, and we're kind of doing it for the show.
Oh, that is
so.
That one's.
If we make space
sorry, I will
for,
bend.
like,
I will bend the rules because that's. No. So no. Yours specifically, like, that's hilarious, and I know you're not going to sit there. No, because that's just
okay.
Damn funny, and it's good content.
Yeah. And
you're not going to. I highly doubt, I should say.
Probably not going to.
I don't think you're going to pour, like, 200 hours in, so that doesn't count. Not. That's an experience that's funny.
Okay.
Days Gone. That's not the point. So I'll put that onto a list for next year. Appreciate you trying. It's good, and that's how we started the show, though, because it was discussion with a fellow gaming dad. It's like, oh, you should totally get the Steam Deck. It's very good.
Yeah.
See, we're supporting one another.
That's
it's
right.
all about it.
There you go.
Helping each other out, seeing where we get to. Yep. We'll wrap it up there for the week, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. This has been New Dad Gaming. If you like the show, you can subscribe to us on all the major podcasting networks. So iTunes, Spotify, Caster, anywhere where you find your podcast, just look for New Dad Gaming. If you did like the show, what really helps out is a subscription, as I said, or leaving a rating and a comment. Helps blow us out to other gaming dads so we can figure out all the best VBuck / Valorant / League of Legends tips from fellow gaming dads. Love to hear it. So obviously sharing us on social media. Helps greatly. Try to get it to as many gaming dads as possible. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. Until next week, my name is Trevor, and I have a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 14-year-old that I'm going to challenge in League of Legends, and a 11-year-old.
Yeah. Oh, man, I cannot wait to hear the stories.
Yeah, it'll be good.
And look, Jeff's no good at games, but that doesn't stop him. Because remember, just because you became a dad
does not mean it's game over.
Love the shade followed by this slogan.
It'll build me up. I like it.
All right, everybody. See you next week.
See you later.